It shouldn't come off as a hot take to anyone that Anituber is a place featuring high volume, high octane cringe. But there's really important element of that cringe that I don't see addressed with enough specificity and discrimination. And that is the subject of dunning-kruger effect, or dunning-kruger rather. Now, I don't believe I need to introduce what dunning-kruger is, as I've seen a good number of people use the term. It's really nothing more than scientific observation that people of low ability have an extremely high propensity to evaluate their abilities as many, many times higher than what they really actually are. And Anituber is a place where the people who shout the loudest, most obnoxiously, most pretentiously, or simply have the right connections, they get the big subscriber counts. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, let's see. So Digibro recently, he made a video. Here it is. Comparing the series Arifureta, as it's shortened named as, to Sword Art Online, trying to figure out which one is worse, implying that both are really bad. But before we check that out, I want to look at the video he made after. So that is right here. So as you can see, my own profile picture and handle were featured on screen for the entire duration of the video. I tweeted out a very nicely worded tweet to Digibro, basically asking him passive-aggressively to stop the SAO cringe on his channel, and Digibro was generous enough to devote an entire video to addressing my tweet. And this was actually an okay video, especially seeing as it took a shit on Mother's basement. So that was kind of cool. But now I wrote this tweet when I saw this thumbnail of his new video on Arifureta and SAO. I did not watch the actual video, however, because I pretty much knew what to expect. Well, it turns out I didn't know what to expect. I was giving Digibro way too much benefit of the doubt in regards to just what stage his dunning-kruger cancer has advanced to. The video he made in response to my tweet actually made me consider that all of Digibro's, kruging I've seen up to this point might just be, an act that he made up just for the views. But spoiler warning, that is not true. It is not an act. I did see a few key details that sort of foreshadow, the cringe I was to eventually experience upon watching the Arifureta SAO video. First off, this tweet from Digibro. Here he calls SAO a YouTuber punching bag, as if he honestly thinks the series is being punched effectively or something by these YouTubers. That's just kind of the impression it gives. Seeing his roast of, Mother's Basement Geoff, I let this one slide. So I took it well. The next thing was this comment, though, in the actual video. Where are we at? Okay, right here. I actually found your channel via the Asterisk War series when it was recommended, blah, 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 blah. I'm a teenager who loves to write, and I find critical reviews of any kind of story rewarding because they teach me what makes a narrative compelling. Your channel has taught me a lot. Yeah, this is not irony right here. This is real. So this comment told me that Digi has still yet to acknowledge that his Asterisk War videos are the humiliating act that they are. I think he might even defend the Asterisk War videos in this video, but I honestly can't remember. I saw a comment on another one of Digibro's videos, how to make a lot of money online, which is actually a pretty good video from Digibro, albeit a little bloated. But check this comment out. Waiting for the companion piece, how to recognize a terrible channel in just one video. Well, Here's how to recognize a terrible channel in 15 seconds.
Back when the first episode of the Arifureta anime came out and my personal journey with the series began, I quickly learned through my comments that even amid the people who relatively enjoyed the light novels and the manga, the series was widely considered to have gone to shit as soon as Hajime and Yue escaped.
That's all you need. Did you start citing the popular opinion of the vocal Anglosphere immediately upon starting the video and acts like that's a valid way of forming expectations for what a work is like? Digi has essentially lost all credibility as a so-called reviewer immediately with this blunder. If you know what dunning-kruger is, you would also realize the very simple reason why you never look at popular mass opinion to get an idea of something. The common person is not good at creating art nor critiquing it. Two activities which are not even remotely mutually exclusive. More on that shortly. Therefore, the masses are inevitably going to have widespread dunning-kruger. And therefore, they will believe that their judgments are correct and accurate when they are, in fact, quite the opposite. Now, popular mass opinion can be closer to correct in some instances more than others. But there are a lot of factors that need to be in place for that to happen. And it's certainly much less common than the popular opinion being, primarily off, if not just, flat out incorrect. So Digibro not realizing this indicates that his own takes are literally no better than the popular opinion. And since his entire channel is meant to exist for the sake of bringing you premium opinions, his channel gets a big fat 0 score in the category of its main purpose of existing. But the big thing that had me face palming harder than Kyon on a bad day was Digi's critique of the Arifureta manga's artwork. So now, cringe warning here. Here we go. Brace yourself.
I've seen people praising the artwork in this because of its level of detail, and in some pictures that detail is enough to make something a bit striking, but on average the illustrator's sense of anatomy and perspective are wonky as shit, and most of the pacing, paneling, and general image construction is just bland. I would describe it as average at the very best. But unlike the anime, the book...
It's not a parody, that's real. That's the real deal. That's the real Digibro right there. If you were to go up to a group of high-level professional artists and say this shit to them, they would unironically laugh at you so hard to the point where any protest from you would only be met with louder laughter, and you would feel like the most joke-level, miscellaneous character that gets absolutely humiliated and shit on to the point of cruelty for the sake of contrasting the actually cool main characters. So from here, there's really absolutely no reason to actually pick apart or humor anything Digi actually says in this video, in the actual meat of it. I mean, you'd probably unironically you'd get more out of just listening to the madman ranting of some fucking bum on the street than watch this dumpster fire he calls analysis. He drops criticisms of the writing, the art, and the directing that seem silly to say are backed by no theory because they're barely backed by even any attempt at explanation at all. It's kind of like watching a child tantrum, and yet he has the audacity to act like his opinions are worth informing people on what to watch and how to watch it. So imagine if there was a reboot of the show Iron Chef where all the judges were replaced with 8-year-old children, and of course with no training whatsoever. Now imagine one of these 8-year-olds as he decides he doesn't like the taste of the food made by a world-class chef, and then he starts banging his silverware on the table and yells for them to bring him a kid's meal. Now imagine this 8-year-old is being donated over $4,000 a month for throwing these tantrums. It's also worth noting that Digibro actually endorses in this video, like his old SAO video he made, where he really just humiliates himself by trying to restructure the plot of SAO, ending up with a story I kid you not would expect from an autistic junior high student in a creative writing club. There's also a part where he insists that he can judge the quality of the prose of a work just by reading the translation of that work. Putting the fact that Digibro can't judge prose at all, even in the first place, if he even knew the first thing about translation, he would know that, no, a translation is not enough to judge the quality of a given work, seeing as the writing level of the translator greatly affects the quality of the translated version to the point where the translator is more influential on the quality of the actual translated version's prose than the original writer was. So nice job, Digibro. You can't even get shit like that right, just miscellaneous details that pretty much everyone knows who's in the actual business of that stuff. So here's one of the funniest things I noticed about this video. For all that venom Digibro threw at Mother's Basement, the part of this video that deals with SAO has a shockingly large amount in common with the cringe fest that Mother's Basement dropped back in 2016. This video right here. He even talks about Full Metal Alchemist in this video. I don't know at what part, but he literally talks... Yeah, here it is. There's some Full Metal shit. He talks about Full Metal Alchemist in this video, literally FMA Brotherhood, the same exact way Mother's Basement did in that 2016 video, where he introduced that as like a counterexample of what good storytelling looks like. Now, not only is FMA Brotherhood normie cringe, it's also one of the best examples I can think of poor storytelling in anime, especially when you take into account the alternative version of FMA, which has existed since 2003, which all in all is one of the best shows ever made. So, yeah. And one more thing. I unfortunately haven't had the time to watch Arifureta, but if Digibro is trying to get me think that this is a bad-looking show, if you actually look at all the clips he includes, like, most of them are very good-looking clips. Like, most of them are very high-quality drawings, high-quality animation in proportion to the budget, making me assume that overall Arifureta is a very good-looking show, I would imagine. So why would you show me those clips when trying to make me think the opposite, Digibro? Does it have something to do with the fact that you draw fucking decorated stick figures? Does that have anything to do with it? Fucking refresh. Yes. Here they are. Decorated stick figures. Now, it's not like Digibro thinks he's a good artist or anything, but the way he talks, the way he reviews, you'd certainly think he does. So, wait. All right. Now, I've been here a million times, and I know what's coming next. You don't need to be good at something to analyze or review it. I've seen this cringe come up so many times, I cannot even tell you. So I'm going to debunk this in literally a few sentences with a point that should be so painfully obvious, it should normally go unsaid. So, what is criticism of art? It is an explanation given as for how that art could be improved. Now, how that art could have been made better, you could also, say. If you cannot actually make good art, it is because you don't know what you are supposed to do to make it good. Therefore, why, in true God's name, would someone who cannot make good art know how to make someone else's, already professional level in most cases, product better? This is literally rat shit, circus shit. So what's that? You can still make broad statements about it? What's the fucking point if your statements are broad? You might as well just say, make it better at that point. Because we all know from examples, as we've just seen, any attempt to get any more specific than that is just like It's just going to be terribly wrong if you get even the slightest bit more specific than should be better, which honestly is what a lot of them default to. It's a lot of just, I didn't like this, so it should be better. The sad part is the general audience, being not skilled at creation themselves, they share in the same dunning-kruger that parasites Digibro's mind in the first place. This makes Digibro's criticisms seem, perfectly reasonable to them. The next rebuttal I see almost as much is people citing their level of enjoyment of something as a reasonable basis from which to extract criticism. And this gets into the whole objectively good doesn't exist argument, which is honestly so cringe I won't even directly address it, since all I need to say is that it's a product of Dunning-Kruger again. As far as your enjoyment goes, there are so many factors that go into one's enjoyment of something outside of the technical quality that it's really honestly a joke to act like your enjoyment is a basis for judging something. I mean, in fact, I'm going to prove it right now that the technical quality of something and one's enjoyment have little correlation. And I'm going to use Digibro's own work right here to do it. So Digibro wrote about a 15,000 words or so that he calls his first light novel. He calls it his first light novel.
Though it had practically been pecked clean, he could tell from the clothes and size of the man that Cassius, the young man he tried to scare away from danger by overwhelming him with power.
There's
Talking about barely had the capacity yet to think.
He actually did pretty good reading of it too. So honestly, it's pretty good. But I do not mean that from a technical perspective. I mean that from a cultural perspective. Cultural critique is something that Anituber is also lacking in, aside from technical critique. But that's a whole different subject. So while Digibro's novel might be, amateur and sloppy, and not obviously not in the ways it's trying to be, goofy. I get where it's trying to be. It genuinely reflects his love. It genuinely reflects his love for otaku culture. And the very tropes that he spends useless video after useless video pretending to hate. For this, I respect Digibro. I respect that. His story, Kusomega as it's nicknamed, it's actually a pretty good illustration of his own struggle with otaku masculinity and morality. He depicts a character with, great power but no purpose, a character with deep moral priorities but a lack of confidence as to how to express those moral priorities. And I am positive that these traits are a reflection of Digibro himself. So, while we're on the subject of otaku masculinity and morality, let's ask a question for a second. Why Sword Art Online? Why is it that SAO gets so much mainstream criticism? Any popular work could have been chosen as the work to make a meme out of sort of cringely straw man. Is there a pattern we can find in the kind of works that fake or self-loathing anime fans criticize? The answer to that question is yes, there is. There is a psyop going on, but that's for the next video coming out the day after tomorrow. That is right, semi-daily vids going up, all high quality. Additionally, I have some groundbreaking, world-changing projects in store, ready to be announced any day now. So keep an eye on my Twitter and my Minds account. Keep a look on the timeline for any sort of upcoming announcements and stuff. And also on weekends for now. Just on weekends, I am doing some extra comfy streaming, and I will try to simul-stream it on Twitch or on YouTube as well as Twitch. So together, we can reform this cesspit of cultural decay and bring about the international golden age of otaku. Blessings of true God upon all of you.